The last presentation of this session will be given by Martina Heidvogel and Peter Olesik, and I think I don't have to present Martina again. Peter Olesik, he's an associate media conservator at the Museum of Modern Art, where he's been working since 2011 to conserve the museum's time-based media collection. And yeah, Martina and Peter, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share here. So hello, I'm Peter Olesik.
And my name is Martina Heidvogel.
Together, Martina and I will use Shirin Neshat's Passage as a case study to illustrate an example of interinstitutional collaboration and to interrogate boundaries in contemporary art conservation as we pursued a master for this particular work. So Shirin Neshat is a contemporary Iranian visual artist who came to the United States in 1974 and stayed after the Iranian Revolution prevented her from returning. She works in mediums such as photography, film, video, and performance. In her works, she explores complex philosophical ideas within the polarities of empowered feminism and contemporary Islam, conveyed through a language of Islamic beauty and poetry. Passage is the third film of her early experiments with motion picture technology in 2001. With Passage, Shirin Neshat created a performance of an obscure funeral ritual inspired by the Islamic faith, in which she juxtaposes the powerful landscapes of Morocco's desert against the ritualistic movements of the people navigating it. The work is a 12-minute single-channel video installation intended for a black box display within a gallery setting. The video was made by telecine-ing the 35mm film to standard definition video in 2001. MoMA acquired one of the 6 editions of the work in 2007 and received a set of 1 digital Betacam to serve as the master video format, and itself a clone of the artist's master digital Betacam, and 2 exhibition DVDs. The video material on the digital Betacam is what made the DVD exhibition copies. In 2008, when the work was reviewed at MoMA by curatorial, conservation, and registrar staff during a standard acquisition condition assessment, it was noted that originally shot in 35mm film, Digibeta and DVD both appear washed out with loss of detail in black areas of film, clothing, etc. Overall, a horrible copy. Need to rescreen with the artist present and possibly approach gallery about obtaining a print from the original film. To give you a sense of what the MoMA staff was seeing in 2008, this still is taken from a digital video file transfer of that digital Betacam master, which is a resolution of 720 by 486 pixels in NTSC standard definition video space, non-square pixels, I should say. This file is a 1-to-1 copy of the digital Betacam, and you can notice the letterboxing within the 4:3 aspect ratio here and the general blurriness in the image detail. In reviewing the artist questionnaire, it's noted that both the equipment specified and the presentation medium of video are purely functional and not critical elements of the piece. These condition notes and documentation sat in the artwork record until 2012, when Passage was reviewed as part of a larger project to revisit all of MoMA's single-channel videos and migrate them to digital file formats. Taking note of the observations in 2008, Conservation and Curatorial engaged with the artist to review the acquired video formats in comparison to her personal 35mm film print. A screening was set up at MoMA and both were reviewed in sequence, as side-by-side projection is difficult to achieve with video and 35mm film. We then were able to see this, which is the digital Betacam, which we received at acquisition, in comparison to this. As you can see, there's far more detail where you can see the faces of the men, and the color is rendered in finer ranges of orange, bringing out the subtle shifts in the rock. Overall, it was quite striking in comparison to the digital Betacam. We, myself, curatorial, and the artist, decided to pursue a new transfer of the 35mm print. In the years between 2001, when Shirin made the piece, and 2012, when we were doing our comparison, video technology had evolved, with high definition video being the consumer standard. It was decided to scan the 35mm print to make a new high-definition digital video master to capitalize on this evolution in technology and represent the visual information of the 35mm film more faithfully in this high-definition video space. This resulted in the following high-definition video file. We had further questions we wanted to address about the work, but unfortunately didn't have the institutional attention to address them at the time as we got pulled into more pressing exhibition and institutional needs. However, after a serendipitous conversation with Martina, then media conservator at SF MoMA, there was renewed interest in the project from outside of MoMA's sphere.
Yeah, so that was in 2015 when the work was slated to be part of SF MoMA's grand opening exhibition in 2016. And that was the moment where this unusual collaboration around this work began. SF MoMA's holdings also included a DigiBeta and a DVD, and knowing about Peter's work, the two museums joined forces by sharing resources and staff time. And together we decided to pursue a master for the work that more closely satisfied the high quality of a 35mm source, a 4K version, a file with a resolution of over 4,000 pixels in width. As I was catching up to the work that has happened up until this point, I compared the DigiBeta video file to the HD version that MoMA did at SF MoMA, and I noticed a difference in aspect ratios. The DigiBeta version was a 16:9 widescreen, which you see with a red outline here, and MoMA's HD film scan was a full frame 4:3, which you see with the green outline. This comparison revealed another difference. A substantial part of the image was missing on the left side of the film print. At that moment, neither of us could make sense of this. In preparation for the exhibition and to open up the conversation internally, SF MoMA staff consisting of curators, media technicians, registrars, and conservators came together for a viewing to compare the two versions as a team. While the difference in aspect ratio was noted, in the side-by-side comparison, the far superior quality of the HD film scan was no match for the SD video file, and the former was chosen for the opening exhibition. A few days before the opening, SF MoMA's media curator, Rudolf Frieling, and I sat down with Shireen Nishat in the gallery, and the artist expressed how beautiful the installation was. This busy moment was not the right time to discuss the intricate differences of the two versions with her, and we scheduled to meet in New York at MoMA at a later date. 2 years later, a team of conservation and curatorial staff from both institutions met with Nishat, and together we watched one version after the other, asking questions and addressing the discrepancies we had noticed. It was during this meeting that we learned that the work was shown for the very first time as part of a performance by Philip Glass. Glass had commissioned a series of films, one of them, Passage, in 2001, and screened these silent films with a live orchestra. After these film festival screenings, Nishat decided to turn the film into a video installation, transferred it to video, chose a 16:9 aspect ratio, and distributed it as an edition on digital Betacam and DVD. After the live performance, she was provided with a composite film copy, one that combined the image and the sound on one film strip. This was the print from Nishat's archive that MoMA digitized in 2013. And it is exactly that composition of image and sound that accounted for the missing image content on the left, with the two audio tracks taking up some actual real estate on the film strip. Here's another image where you can see us look at the print with the artist, and you see the two audio tracks on the film. However, the most important piece of information gained from the study day at MoMA was when Shirin Neshat mentioned that Philip Glass must still be in possession of the original negative that she had handed over to him at the time of the performance. This original negative that contained only the image in its entirety was the missing puzzle piece in this 11-year-old journey. When we reached out to them, they were happy to provide it, and Peter oversaw its digitization.
Working with the Philip Glass studio, we were able to track the original negative elements to UCLA's Film and Television Archive. UCLA kindly sent us the elements, and we confirmed that, indeed, this was the key element we needed to properly scan the work into 4K resolution. Here you can see a photo of that negative confirming the image area is present without the soundtrack. With the original negative identified and located, we sent it out to be scanned by Color Lab in Rockville, Maryland, who we regularly use and who had done the previous scan back in 2012, which resulted in a new 4K resolution scan of the work, but our work was still not done. Here is an image of that scan ungraded. All film scans are done, quote unquote, flat, and then graded to their display context. For example, HD video displayed in a gallery versus a digital cinema package, or DCP, shown in a movie theater utilize different color spaces. So the image needs to be adjusted to allow for proper rendering in both of those environments. Also, to provide further momentum for this project's completion, Shirin was having a mid-career retrospective in the fall of 2019 at the Broad Museum in Los Angeles. Seizing on this opportunity, we sent the new raw elements to Shirin and her editor, who edited the original film back in 2001, to be graded, cropped, and prepared for the Broad, and to also generate the new master and exhibition formats for the work. As has been a theme in this project, the exhibition of the works again served as a critical motivator. The newly prepared file was premiered at Shirin's retrospective in 2019, and a photo of it is here. And Shirin was really thrilled with the results. As she says, we finished our color correction of passage, and I have to say thanks to Peter and Martina and the whole team at MoMA and SF MoMA. This video is beautifully preserved. I'm so happy with the quality now. In summary, these various steps in the different scans and resolutions resulted in a work that is much closer to that original 35mm film Shirin shot in the year 2000. Here you can see that difference quite strikingly, where we regained the detail, resolution, and fidelity of the original film. By scanning it at 4K, we approximate the visual information of 35mm film, so we are as close as digitally possible to the analog 35mm elements. As you can see here, the original had a loss of detail that was about 1/6 of the original, the original digital Betacam. Also, I just want to note that these resolutions listed in the slide are based on the full 4:3 aspect ratio, not the 16:9 aspect ratio that the work is typically displayed in.
While the immense gain in quality and image information is undoubtable, if we look closely and condition report the new file, we can see that the artist and her cinematographer used this moment of re-editing to sometimes choose a different frame of the image. And in the frame comparison we see here, also leveled the horizon. The conservation of Shirin Neshat's work Passage was 12 years in the making. From the moment MoMA's questionnaire flagged the work as needing a proper master in 2007 to remastering of the 4K version in 2019. In this time span, the conservation work didn't just cross departmental and furthermore institutional boundaries, but also generational ones. In the entire process, collaboration was at its core, be it between the artist and the institution, or between colleagues. We believe it was the most critical element of its success. And our role in this? As conservators, we were actively engaged in the process, advised on technical best practices, dig deeper by asking questions regarding her decision-making, and documented the journey along the way as we pursued a common goal, the best quality master possible. Has the journey ended now? Is the work now conserved? In our experience, it hasn't. With every new exhibition or loan, there's an opportunity to review, to check in, to cross some T's, to reconsider. Media conservation is an ongoing process of care, and the work shows something else. Even the work, perceivably as straightforward as a single channel video installation, may need a tremendous amount of care and the specialized expertise of a trained conservator. And with that, we want to thank you for your attention.